Ariel Castro, the Ohio man charged with keeping 3 women captive in his home for over a decade, was found dead on Tuesday evening in his jail cell. On August 1st, Castro was sentenced to life plus 1,000 years for the kidnapping and rape of 3 women. He pled guilty to 937 counts, including murder and kidnapping. This was in exchange for the death penalty being taken off the table. Tell us what happened. Who discovered Castro?
It was one of the guards last night about 9:30. They found him hanging in his cell. They tried some life-saving measures. Those didn't work out, and about 2 hours later, he was pronounced dead at a local hospital.
Was there any suggestion that he might be a suicide risk? Why wasn't he on suicide watch?
Well, he was confined to a specific wing of the prison. He didn't have contact with other inmates. They would check on him every 30 minutes. But as far as a suicide watch, according to the officials there, they had no indication that he had been planning to commit suicide.
What did we know about his mental state?
Well, I guess that would depend on who you ask. We spoke to Dr. Maurice Godwin earlier today. He specializes in serial killers and forensics. And, it was his opinion that this individual had a disconnect from reality. There's a lot of rumors floating around the internet right now. They're saying, well, he just did a plea deal to get life in prison instead of death. So if he wanted to commit suicide, why didn't he just go for the death penalty? But again, this is a person they suspect might have borderline personality disorder, and a trait of that is making impulsive decisions. So I think it's pretty obvious the guy wasn't all right in the head.
Also, it's a different way of dying. I mean, either way, it's macabre and it's an awful thing to happen, even though the guy was a monster. But taking it into your own hands and actually being responsible for it versus spending years on death row and then having the state do it, I can kind of understand why you would do that either way. Is there any suggestion, and I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I have friends who work in prisons who say, listen, when really, really bad guys try to kill themselves, we take a little time to find the keys.
Well, we have heard that before, but at the same time, this is a guy who he was imprisoned in a jail and was transferred to a prison. Well, jail's certainly an entire different world than prison. So it's more likely that he got there, he realized what he had to look forward to the rest of his life, and it just wasn't worth it.
How widespread is this? Do you have any idea how often it is, how widespread it is that inmates commit suicide?
I don't know the exact statistics off the top of my head, but I do know it happens quite often.
And do we know anything more about the exact method, what he used?
Prison officials haven't said. They just said he hung himself. So, most likely it was something in his cell, like a sheet or something along those lines.